Just testing the audio. Was this muted? Shit. There we go. I'm on the other headphones. Alright, so, oh god. Basically, what I'm going to do is just try to walk through a bunch of stuff with geeks. I was trying to plan it out, which is why I'm a little bit late. Getting started as usual. Ran into some issues with Hyprland. With the XPDH or XDPH screen sharing dialog, which maybe I can test like this. Let me see what I got up here again. Hopefully this doesn't derail the stream, but you know. Oh, yeah, there we go. So now I know how to like open this thing. I don't know why. That's supposed to be automatically checked. Oh, whoa, I forgot it's not a window, which is nice. Anyways, that sent me down a rabbit hole of nicks. So like, oh boy. Oh, why not? Here's some of this. I need to do. Anyway, I think this will cause that to go there. Good, good. This is almost as cool as those AI-driven things that do it for you, like, well, you know what I mean. Code Rabbit, stuff like that. I guess it gives you superpowers. I always kind of hoped that Emacs could give me superpowers, but apparently that don't do enough anymore, so it's still pretty cool. And so I can do this, W, capital W, and save diff as patch. And then we're going to put this in. Make temp -d. I think. Yeah. Now that does exist, so we're going to put it in there. We're going to be like fdsa.patch. And then we're going to go here. We're going to bat it. No, wait, what? What did I do? Anyway, so you can do things like that. Really? Oh, I think I know what happened. There's an echo. Echo Nui. Whatever that is. Oh, this is a good one. Tell you RMRF things. Oh, shit. Now we're gonna bat that. Yay. I really don't trust having syntax highlighting in arbitrary commands. Oh, that's the bat. Ah. So now we're going to do a bunch of random stuff here at the beginning. Say auth. Oh. Locate. Yeah. Do like data, ecto, crypto. Ah. to do? Man. Curs. I don't know if people that do this correctly. L is dot hash L. Uh-oh. Brain fart. Hey. Oh. So then we're going to locate. Let's see if that was ghosty. Oh, whoops. Should be able to click on things. Apparently not. I guess maybe I made it so that I couldn't. Blah 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 blah. Bash, bash, bash. One of these is. Oh, one of them's new. Did it actually XDG open anything? I have no idea. Open with. Okay, here's the problem that I was having. Which is great that it's not fucking working. It's putting this stuff just kind of wherever it wants. And if you notice up towards, I can't move the mouse, but in the top left of the screen it says open with. But there's no window there. So I move it over here. Boom. And we're going to open it with, I guess, something like that. I mean, why not? Oh, it must be on the wrong screen. Well, that's awkward. Yeah, dude, I gotta figure out a better way to pay attention to that. It's like right in front of me. Yes, is that what happened? Yeah, I guess so. That is really disappointing. All right. God. Anyway, so yeah, this is how I prefer to look at things, or docs. I printed this out from something, I guess the man pages, but it takes a while to get it to do it. I guess you have to export it to HTML and use some simple substitutions to, yeah. So, I don't know why I forgot how to do that. I guess because I've been like working into many different things. It's like so terrible. Find doesn't work right. Really? Length, list of keys. We don't ever have those. It doesn't make any sense because you can't have nested ones. What the fuck, dude? I like seriously can't remember that. You don't. Oh my god. Anyway, so it wasn't even on screen. That's hilarious. I was just Streisanding myself. No. I'm over here again. So I need to find a way to do that. I'm trying to think of the best way to like just be like, hey, it's not on screen. How would you do that? Because it could be a key binding, but it's not a key binding. I guess I could add a special key binding for workspaces I plan to stream from. And then if I'm cognizant of that and bind the same thing for OBS, then it should just work. I don't know. There's no did it again. Here's the fun thing about OBS though. If we can just maybe not preview the screen. Alright, so the fun thing about OBS is that you go here to bind some key bindings. Manage to not. Oh my god, it did it again. Okay. What was that on? Yeah, proof positive. It goes behind. It's not supposed to do this. This right here. This is supposed to be impossible. Like, from a C or C++ level, like, or whatever, just in how the Scratch workspaces are handled and other workspaces and layering, it's not supposed to let you do that. And you'll notice, like, like it'll switch focus here and here. Somehow this is not, I don't know what's over there. Anyway, I can do this, and now it's here. Yay! Alright, hotkeys, look at this. So I am using this, like, oh my god. They need to bring C++ back so people can do some system programming and they can realize things that otherwise take a very long time to realize. I guess I'm going to enable it. Oh, focus is stolen. Okay. I'm just going to have to trust in the force. I hope it's showing. I guess it's not showing. There. Okay. Whoa, whoa. No, delete that. No, we do not want to... We do not want a shortcut to start streaming. I can just already go ahead and tell you, you do not want that shortcut key. Or I don't. It's, show NDS source, switch to scene. What? Dude, I hate this shit, man. So these keys, and this is like exactly why you want deterministic, magical, lambda calculus, Nixos shit to declare your configuration. Oh, I'm sorry, what's that? There's the OBS stream thing? Oh, okay. Yeah, so you could just pay money and somebody else does it, which is great. You just have to like spin forever in a bunch of tabs. And then fill out all the text fields with a bunch of arbitrary strings that you need to know how to access with HTTP APIs. So anyways, let's wire up something that I know I'm not using. I think I'm not using this one. Q, what do we have for Q? Nothing? Okay, good. Alright, nope, not super. We don't want to start streaming with super. Like, what is wrong with this shit? Is that really, like, for real? Is it done? No. Oh my god, okay, it hasn't applied anything. Alright, so what does it do when I hit mod 3 something? it doesn't know what to do. It doesn't recognize those modifier keys. And Hyprland is an application that will allow you to pass through, like globally pass through stuff. I have no idea. Anyways, so I can briefly show, yeah, we'll just enable the preview again. This needs to be over here, which is annoying. Anyway, so I'm going to briefly sort of show what had happened when I do, I was supposed to get, I'm going to have to like chop this stream or something. I guess I'll start over because I really wanted to lead in with a bunch of geek stuff, just in case. It's strange how the medium is the message, right? So like, people that wrote Pulp Fiction marketed their books like, and then actually authored their books so that it would be one that you would buy, or that a library would buy, and that like you might read or whatever. Just for nonfiction, content is arranged so that you're, anything could be anywhere. Some valuable piece of information is really like going to be found by looking in the index or the table of contents. People flip through nonfiction. Fiction is like you start at the beginning. So like the most critical parts of fiction are always in the first 20 pages. That's what's going to hook you. You could read that while you're at Barnes & Noble, and you might buy it. So, but a video is like, they got to hook you at 30 seconds with a screen cap, which is like, no shade, but it just is what it is, because you got to do what you got to do to make your stuff hook or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to do, I need the, I don't know if I still have that, JQ, hoods to entries, blah, blah, blah. Select what to share. That said, choose. And dot title, choose. And it said, or yeah, dot title, match, choose. Dot star, I guess. It probably does a substring. And, alright, but if it was like, I don't know, alacrity. You got some? Okay, good. Alright, so, settings. Uh-oh. Oh, it is behind. Okay. It's floating, because I swear, okay, well, let's say it's not there. Okay, boom. Wait, what? So title settings. What was I saying? Choose. Oh, yeah. Because I want to know, like, why this one? And this is really strange because we're on a Scratch workspace right now. Anyways, I have to go chop this up. So I've edited a 60-minute video before. I will never do that again unless, like, basically somebody storyboards it for me, like maybe AI or something. I have no idea. You can't waste tape. They will tell you that in Hollywood, even though they don't use tape anymore. They're going to tell you that you can't be late, you can't waste tape, and somebody else owns your soul. Or whatever, I don't really know. Anyway, because they create, like, you got these logistics and, blah, blah, blah. So every additional piece of footage is something else somebody has to decide whether to hit the delete button on. Or whether to cut it up and put it in the DVD special features. Yeah. Our kids don't know what bloopers are like. We used to get the deleted scenes. Anyways. So, yeah, so like once I drop it on another desktop and move it back, what the fuck? Dude, I do not understand, like, at all. maybe if I move it all the way over, because the workspace it's on. Okay. See, it says workspace. See, like, I wonder, like, what is wrong with these properties? Might as well get the command also. Alrighty. Go down here. Oh, wait a second. Do launching, opening, windows behind, tiled. Nope. Visual workspaces. Got some JSON here. Here's how we're going to turn around and make that example. That is expensive. Whoa. So I have no idea. Initial class. It's got the class. We got the class. Oh shit! There's too much shit going on here. Go ahead. Alright, so here, if I open up over here, that's correct. Okay, so here the problem is this class always goes to the OBS workspace. What? That's what I thought it was. See, I had thought. This is why I added back the Walker thing that I had, mod 3 shift F1, a nice little thing here, and then Windows, settings, okay, it's not open, but it's nice because it doesn't really have any dependencies other than Walker, which is still configured. So it'll work on both my access computer and we go here, settings, and like I think, I don't know, whoa, I'm gonna move this over here. Where space is this? See, there's just some things. Okay, that's 10. Move it over to 10. But see, it's still, no, it's not dimmed here. This is dimmed for another reason. Okay, now I'm gonna open this, mod 3, Windows, settings, and what happened? Okay, it goes over there. This is the Hyper workspace, boom, okay. What workspace was it on? Like 3 seconds ago. Special Hyper. What is wrong with this thing? And see, when you get something, when you get some coordinates like this, I'm on the right window, right? Yeah. I have to figure out how to do that without making 5 to-do items. Anyway, so when you get this, you're not going to see anything. So then, like, you have to like know that you could switch to a workspace where that would be the only thing that's focused, but it's not. And so you could use the Walker thing to get there, and it's gone. What? Why does that? What the hell, man? Anyway, you know what? We're gonna turn this into YAML just because. No. Because I'd rather look at it like that. Make it correct YAML. Or yeah, incorrect YAML, whatever. Like that. Alright. I guess, I don't know. I could be wrong. You never know. Alright, so anyways, I'm going to have to figure out how to structure this and the intro. I guess I can just rename the video. I'm sure it's not very good for SEO. I'm pretty sure if you have a streaming schedule, either you can tell it to schedule the stream or something, but if YouTube picks up that you actually start on time. Start on time, don't waste film. Whatever the third one was. Oh yeah. So I guess I'll do that and just start over. I don't really care though. That's the thing. That's like way too much like conformance to societal norms or expectations of success when I don't really know that, like, even given a fair game, I don't think my fair game is going to end up being a success. Is going to end up being successful. So then there's the cost of conforming in terms of like how you have to change yourself, and then also like the cost of conforming in terms of like that's a lot of work. Like it really is. Like I've got shit to do. I'm sure it'd be a little bit easier with agents, but it's not. It's not easy. I've edited video. So there's like video editing and DJing. Two kind of simple things in that the activity is parameterized by time. So like in order to edit the videos, you have to watch the video, or you have to sort of plan what you're going to do so that you end up with less film. That's just how that shit works. And I swear to God, I hope I'm on camera right now with the right workspace. Okay, let's see. Oh, I've lost my OBS. All right. Yeah, I guess so. Well, I'm going to try again here in a second. And actually lead in with the geek stuff. I was working on this. Whatever the fuck this is. This is, a lot of people look at this and be like, that's big sad. And I'm like, give me the data. I don't really care. I don't really care. Just give me the data. You got an API? Can I use it? Oh, it's GraphQL. Okay, so I have to know about the data in order to get the data. Anyway, so I'm going to hopefully build a geek system, run some ISOs, do some stuff. See, this shouldn't be at the end of the video, it should be at the beginning. Like, or the most profound thing ever, Toastmasters was like, tell them what you're going to tell them. If I have some slides, it'll work. I do have some slides over here that I'm working on. While we're all on tangent mode, I just need to have a tangent format. Just that way I could just escape hatch right to put it in the tangent playlist. I think that'll be working. I gotta clean up my content somehow, which is like, wow. You just delete all your accounts. I was really kind of hoping that one day, if nobody else ever understood me, at least AI would understand and have the capacity to just rip your transcripts. I should probably make it private. I've got to like decide between, whatever. And then I don't like using Gmail as my identity online for authentication because, like, if I have things that I do and either a bunch of OAuth logins with that account, or I have like, stuff like that, like, I have to like determine what, it's like dimensional analysis, what dimensions of data do I use to containerize my online identity, because that's like one of the most primary distinguishing features of that's going to like make it easy to think about how you pull together the rest of the design. It's like a kind of a trick that I figured out somebody else probably sort of teaches you in different places using different concepts, but it's really kind of one concept. Like, so like, um, I'm like 15 tangent, tangent stack frames deep. But anyway, so like, if you're designing something, it could be CAD, it could be art, it could be something that you're building, it could be a SQL query, it could be like a system, like a SRE type system design architecture thing. Like, figure out what your biggest constraints are that are gonna most determine the most numbers of variables in the possibility space. So like if you're designing a workbench, like for like building stuff, like okay, probably decide where the height of the workbench is going to be and how wide it needs to be, and then that sets in place like a whole bunch of other things in the design that haven't really been reified yet. But if at any point you change those large variables or those important variables or highly linked or variables, then a lot of other stuff will change. So anyway, in terms of online identity and OAuth and managing your online identity and access and stuff, like I need to figure out do I need to, how do I like containerize the different identities so that like I could actually log into things and not have like 5 different emails. Like if I ever so I need to just like the video editing thing, not just like it, but decide the important details up front, and now you have a pattern, stick to the pattern, and then in the future, like everything's gonna be sort of constrained in the way that you want. So, in other words, if you're getting footage that follows the storyboard, it's easier to filter later. If I've made good design decisions about how to structure my online identity, and remember, nobody did that shit because none of us understood technology as it was being sort of culturally rolled out and transforming everything and changing all the time. We didn't know this, so like I still have like I have an old email account with like 160,000 emails. I can't easily filter it online because it takes too long to search, and it's hard for me to work the data. Like, so then like I just need to throw it away. But if I throw it away, like I really hope I have the right kind of approach to structuring everything, because otherwise I'm just walking into another mess and I'm kind of socially isolated. So I can't just be like, hey Bill, like what do you do with your email? And like Bill's like, let's say 22 years old, and he's like, email? What the fuck? I don't use email. Like how old are you? Well, it's actually like it was formerly like very critical to be like in charge of your email and deciding where things are going to be like sorted, especially for like open source projects that used an email based workflow. And like it used to be really important to design how design the email interface for web applications. Nobody uses it anymore, but you could like reply to a Reddit thread or reply to a GitHub issue. Now we have other ways of doing things, and people are like, oh wow, that's so comparatively faster. Whoa. That's probably coming up, I have no idea. Anyway. Don't do philosophy, kids. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Whatever you do, stay away from math. Don't think about dimensional analysis. Don't try to apply it outside of specialized contexts where people will recognize that it means something, like, I don't know, engineering and stuff like that. Because we try to talk about dimensional analysis as it applies to 12-factor design of things and blah, 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 or online identity. It is a really important concept. It's like basically what they're trying to teach you when they're teaching about AWS folders and organizational units and GCP projects and all this stuff. Like, what if all of that just had one very monadic way of describing it so that you could sort of describe the order in which you need to apply constraints? to simplify the work that you're trying to do. And anyway, the truth about the monad is the monad contains everything, including the monad itself. It may not be a Haskell monad, but whatever. So if you try to talk about everything as it applies to everything, like, anyway, don't do philosophy. It's like, and if you do, maybe go to school for it and have fun at Burger King. It is super fucked up. We're like in a period of time where you should probably know a little bit about philosophy. Because a lot of people are going to try to tell you a lot of things about how the big artificial brains are thinking and what they're doing and how to interact with them. And it's not bullshit necessarily, but it's a lot of things you hear are going to make sense in a lot of different ways. And then you're going to have cognitive dissonance because these people said this and it made sense, those people said that and it made sense, and you're just trying to like figure out like how you're supposed to relate to these things. And they're always changing. So 6 months from now, everybody will have forgotten about everything else if they even. It's ridiculous. Anyway, the time horizon over which people like cite things and reference things and interact with content is shrinking, and we're moving like way too fast. So not only is the time horizon shrinking, but then we're also moving. And so that is a problem in and of itself. So like generally society will probably get better, improve and whatnot, if people expand the time horizon of things that their mind references, memories, events they plan to go to, publishing dates of books that they read, just pretty much anything. Like you can find a way to assign a date to it, and like you're looking at the cognitive closure of people and you're integrating it. That you're trying to find like what is the distribution of times or timestamps for like media that people interact with, memories they thought about, assignments that they had due, like publishing dates of links they clicked on and stuff like that. If that all shrinks down, like what it means at a social level is that like as a socially distributed process, like I don't know how to explain it. People are not going to be thinking about things outside of their own like little like time bubble, which means that the conversations that people have will be mostly constrained to things that are only relevant now, or only relevant for a day, or only relevant for months. And so that's like maybe like a week in the past, a week in the future is like sort of capturing like the majority of the things that people are thinking about. And so you've got like a window, and then maybe you can, I don't know how to really precisely define it in terms of math or whatever, but it's like a window where like the majority of like times or whatever are like of things that our minds reference are like, I don't know. It sounds crazy. I don't know how to explain it. I think that like, I mean, the problem with explaining this stuff is like it's either too highbrow, not highbrow enough. Like, so if you can't use academic language, like there's just a certain like boundary beyond which you can't like a boundary that describes like the conclusions that your arguments can't reach. And so like sometimes using a technical language will help you like clarify things and have precise meaning that's precisely understood by the very tiny like portion of the population that's really going to have a technical understanding of that. Or you can structure like what you're saying or writing so that, and I guess it helps to have like, pictures. Pictures help a lot, but most people just hate math. So the second that you try to explain something and it requires math, like now you've narrowed your audience to that. And then, oh, now it's technical philosophy. You narrowed your audience to that. And like, who are you anyway? Do you have any credibility? No? Okay, so I'm just a normal person. I've got to go, like, I don't know, like, I've got to go to work. I got to wash the car. I got to mow the yard. Like, I can't sit there and listen to the ramble. And it's like, it's really hard to explain, but just stay in school. And like, people like that have graduated college and they're old, they value the college degree, and what you should really value is the social connections that you develop while you're there, because that gives you like people that you'll sort of on and off remain connected to throughout life, and you'll also expand the social network as you go to school. And then basically, like, you'll have enough like inbound links in society and like outbound links, so that, like, you know, like Larry Page's PageRank, whatever. So like, you can ask somebody to help you validate something that you know, or you can ask somebody to help like validate the reputation or credibility of somebody else when it involves a field that you don't know anything about, other than like what it might mean when they have a degree with a certain major. So you have that, and then the kind of dual or complement of that is that other people in society can follow those inbound links and find out about you, or I guess that's your reputation. And they can validate knowledge, and then like how you think about things and the language that you use. Like, so I'm autodidactic, and you just really don't want to be autodidactic. So I was an autodidactic tryhard. So I tried learning, couldn't stick with things for whatever reasons. Tried a lot of like Coursera classes, YouTube lectures, but I didn't like. The nice thing about a curriculum and a major's like set of classes is that, like, so you start in general ed, and like everything gets funneled in, and most people they process reality through the lens of the individual first. General ed filters down. Sophomore year, you're taking different classes. Then by your junior year, you're taking very major specific classes, and your senior year, you're taking like major specific classes, maybe something with a minor. You're deciding on graduate school, where to go, whether to continue, what to do, how to pay for it. And anyway, like, somebody has structured this like curriculum for each class, and then like the overall like intended curriculum and intended like development plan, or like kind of like treatment plan, as in like, I'm like using like alchemical language, sort of like you're bringing all of these starting materials, like people, into college, and then each person is subjected through different processes in the form of classes, socialization, yada yada. So you have to get your freshmen, you weed out the people with the weed out classes, then you get to the sophomores, and now like pretty much everybody's at least like they got through the first filter, being admitted, they got through the second filter, the weed out classes, and you've ensured that like of the people that you are that are in your classes, like you filtered out enough of them so they all have the same set of skills. And so like they're experiencing this through the lens of the individual with a restricted curriculum, so they all know that like what they struggled with maybe in their sophomore or junior classes, and they all know like kind of like what they learned and how their knowledge set changed. But notice that both their knowledge set at any point is similar, or sufficiently similar, where it is like their knowledge set is like sufficiently similar to the norm of knowledge sets for people in that major. But also the change in their knowledge set, like what they learned at, you know, each week or each month, each semester, and really like in larger time scales, each semester, each year, the boundary of their knowledge set is also similar. So they recognize the boundary, and that's a little bit complicated. Too much highbrow knowledge, highbrow math. Like, what do you mean boundary? I mean like the boundary of a manifold, or whatever. Like the dm to the m, or whatever. So you've got an epistemological space. You can sort of magically get somebody's knowledge set, and you proceed through time and you look at where the knowledge set changed. You take that, you subtract the original knowledge set for that person. Now you have the boundary. So both like the knowledge set of people by the junior year for a certain major should have some norms, but then also like the boundary of the knowledge set should sort of like adhere to certain norms. But then like so people eventually sort of like misassociate like the terminology and the vocabulary for what they learned for indicating or for like being useful as a litmus when trying to figure out if somebody knows what they're talking about. And so like that's useful for a lot of ways. It's useful for communication. If you want to write a paper, you have to decide who is your audience. If it's an academic paper or an academic publication, you need to sort of decide like, who am I writing for? Like, what acronyms can I use? Like, what concepts can I use? What acronyms do I have to define? Do I need a section at the end to define all the acronyms in one place? Yes, you probably do. Do I need a place where I can define the math notation that I used? Yeah, no, that's super helpful. Anyway, so like people mistake that kind of like superficial like appearance of knowledge for being like truly deep knowledge, but it's just, I mean, I don't want to deprecate it because college and education is super important because of like for a bunch of different reasons. But it's important to help you develop your social life if that's kind of the thing that you want to do. Because if you end up around a bunch of normies and they all decide like basically amongst themselves or whatever that you don't know what you're talking about, then they can't actually use their own knowledge set to validate what you're talking about, even if they give you the chance. And this is going to frustrate you and kind of like exacerbate. It depends on like how rational you are and how much you sort of value your own ideas and how much you sort of understand about things. But I eventually understood that nobody was going to fucking understand anything that I was writing, so I shouldn't really be so attached to like how they respond to things, which is frustrating. I'm like trying to figure out, did I tie up all the loose ends and all those tangent stacks? And I don't think I did. But anyway, so filter thing. This probably doesn't look good. I'm like way down on the screen. I don't know which direction it is. But yeah, so like in college you're being processed like so to like ensure that you have like had certain transformations, like knowledge transformations, if you still need them, or if they're necessary for the next year's classes or whatever. So you're trying to bring people from a bunch of different starting points. Like they went to school at a private school. They went to school in like a rural area or like an urban area with bad schools, but whatever. And they're all coming to you from different points. They've all been accepted to college. And so now you need to figure out like, because each person has like a different path, like so that they can get from here to there. But here and there are not very easily defined, is like the problem. So like you're talking about like some kind of socio-epistemic space that's kind of like a graph, but there's like copies of the graph through time, and then like you're looking at like subsets of the knowledge. You're deciding which subsets of the epistemic space are necessary for people to sort of like be ready for next year's classes. And this is all pretty easy to think about and talk about as a person planning it. It's just not so easy to fully generalize it so that you kind of have the tools that you need to make certain conclusions or whatever. Like so you can like do calculus on whatever that is. Like the path integrals on like transformations or whatever. Like so like and like there's solutions for dealing with some of these issues like in society and in education. Like I took like a welcome to college class in Virginia Western, and a lot of the people were like kind of paying attention, but I was like really kind of like, I was like, I didn't take this thing seriously last time in 2004 or whatever. And like now I know, I have like a total appreciation for everything that I don't know. That is like stupid simple stuff. So it's like finding good places to study, finding this, finding that. Like how do you like find like studies, like, you know, whatever. Like what is a recitation session? Like how do you find tutors? Like what kinds of habits are like healthy for being efficient? Like how do you know when something's going wrong and all this stuff? And those, like when you're talking about like your college applicants getting into their freshman year, that is like the most important set of knowledge transformations to happen. Like because if that stuff is missing, they may not sort of survive the first year or so. You have to like sort of be able to have, and people are coming from different backgrounds or whatever, so like a lot of it is like nerds or insular, or you know they have you know, Asperger's or whatever, like they're but at the same time they just got straight A's in school, and then they go to college and things fall apart. People are like, what happened? Well, they knew enough to like ace the standardized tests and get like top of the line scores, and like they got good grades. You could tell them to do their homework, and you artificially incentivized it. You sort of cleared the path, made sure they didn't have any distractions and all this stuff. And then they went to school, and they didn't know what was being done. They weren't really fully aware or well adjusted or whatever. So there's a bunch of other reasons why things can sort of fall apart, but it's just really sad when, like, I feel like everybody has a lot of potential to achieve things and accomplish things, and I feel like kind of often that those potentials are not really realized for like silly reasons. Like if you let it, the world will chew you up and spit you out, and it doesn't really want you to think super highly of yourself, because it's useful to have somebody that is like committed to working you know, at Arby's or something, like so people will like, they're not going to be mean about it, but that's like what is like kind of hard to anticipate. Like it's going to sort of happen indirectly. Sometimes people might challenge you and try to tell you like, oh, you're never gonna, you know, your metal band's never gonna make it, or your, you know, whatever, like your music is worthless, or like you're never gonna DJ, or blah blah blah, whatever it is. And it's just useful for people to be predictable, or if people need to have like a more restricted set of goals, then that can sort of make them easier to manage. But see, that's still like, yeah, it depends on how close the person is to you. But if they're in, I don't like, I'm not trying to put ideas in people's heads, because everything's like super complicated. You kind of have to figure it out for yourself, and that's like one thing that people are pretty good at in society, or have been kind of good at in society. But by using figures of speech and metaphors and analogy, what did Elon Musk say about analogies? Or whatever. It's like first principles thinking is so much better, blah, blah, blah. And I know people hate Elon Musk right now, which doesn't make any sense, because if anybody's going to turn the Earth into a giant solar farm, then it's going to be that guy. But anyway, so like agriculture was the unifying theme throughout history after Babylon. Like you can find figures of speech that are analogies, like about livestock. Let's see, like plant hybridization, yada yada yada. Like one of the oldest ones is threshing the wheat or whatever, threshing the wheat. And when it was originally used, it was like in like 3000 BC, but then like wasn't really written down until 1000 BC, and it like describes like an ox, or not an ox, but like a farm animal that's going to sort of like, I can't remember, but it's like literally like doing something kind of laborious that could be much easier I should probably actually find this in on a website. I'm going to stream the other thing in here in a second. Oh, I already have that. Okay, so we're going to pull that over here. Threshing the wheat, and we're going to go to my favorite site, dictionary. Oh, good. Threshing. Anyway, so my point is, like, no one understands any of these agricultural words. This is an agricultural, is a reference to an agricultural practice that is, like, so old that even people who read these verses of the Bible, like, quite often, they don't really know what this means. And they have different opinions, and it's important to have your own interpretation of whatever, or your own interpretation that's in line with what you believe your beliefs are supposed to be, or whatever. But my point is, there's a lot of problems because if you don't understand things technically using like engineering, physics, math, or whatever, like logic and rational thinking and all this stuff, it's easy to sort of get lost. And like when people would get lost in the past trying to figure things out, they would refer to figures of speech sort of describing animals or agriculture, or like kind of like early like technical practices like loom weaving on a loom and stuff. The three fates are a good example of that. Sort of like, I don't know, a lot of these Greek stories have this stuff built into it, but the farther that people get away from agriculture, the more complicated it is. So like it used to be that 95% of people lived in a rural area or whatever up to like 150 or 200 years ago. And now it's like maybe 1% of people live in rural areas, and basically none of them farm. So like they don't, like, the figures of speech are still there, but when you use them, like basically like when your grandparents or great grandparents used these figures of speech, they were like deep and meaningful and probably kind of annoying. Like, I mean, so yeah, for your grandparents or great grandparents, when their grandparents used these figures of speech, like they would have like sharp, kind of clear meanings that were also associated with experience. So you could sort of like not have to talk about graph theory and like integrals across things with boundaries and window functions and like expander graphs and blah blah blah. Like, so you could just be like, let's see, I don't know. You could use like not a figure of speech, but like an image, like a dandelion. It's like an image of scattering of seeds, right? I guess everybody knows what this is, but people don't really know, like, why is this thing so fucking annoying? It's because, like, if you don't get rid of these things, they're going to be everywhere. Like, if you're trying to grow stuff, or if you're trying to, like, you know, and not that you would use that as a figure of speech, but as an image, like, this is, like, very often evoked or whatever, and it's still sort of understood, but the more people that lose touch with like the classical human aspects of life, the more likely they are to not really be able to understand each other. And the economy is based on like role specialization, which is good. So I can specialize, you can specialize, they can specialize, and now we don't all have to specialize. So that's another like clear difference between the agrarian kind of lifestyle from like 300 years ago or 1,000 years ago, and which was like, you know, but you know, a lot of people experience things in different ways from depending on what your class was, or depending on what your role was in society, which is sort of important to understand. No one ever had one way of looking at things, because no group is really composed of one person or even really one group. So anyway, so people don't really understand things anymore, and there's this like massive change in how society's threshing the wheat. Okay. Whew. All right. Anyway, so this is a good example of something that, like, you know, probably by 500 years ago, because like this is before millstones. So millstones are like, God, about as old as you could strap a donkey to a millstone. So older than the water wheel, almost as old as, like, because it's not that hard to think about. Like, how did Egyptians, these are just interesting tangents, how did Egyptians flatten stones? Let's see if we can find this. Because this is, if you don't know this, it's super profound. This is another thing, yeah, like this. Like, what tools did they use to do this? And this is like, and I sort of like thought about it on my own. I'm sure somebody's like told me it doesn't seem profound, like you're just watching an Egypt documentary. But then later somebody did a video specifically on it, and then so this is super profound, because I guess I can give a clue. It takes you have to know about hardness and like random processes and like what happens, and you don't have to know about random processes, but just like the answer to this will surprise the hell out of you. Because it's like, it's actually easy. Like, you could almost not operate a quarry without accidentally learning this. And it's mind-blowing. I mean, you can't operate a quarry without, you can't operate a quarry and then like accidentally get super flat stones or whatever. Like, you have to refine the process and intentionally do it. And I think they use similar processes today to get like perfectly flat surfaces. But it's like, yeah, it's super interesting. But yeah, people used to have to separate the wheat from the grain by thrashing it. So they would like beat the wheat against the ground. And so there's like an element of like, God, I wish this was easier. And like, you're either the person that is having the wheat thrashed for you or threshed for you, or you're the one doing the threshing. And then along comes like domestication of animals, and maybe it happened earlier or whatever. But this is your bottleneck or whatever for like, if you want to make wheat work as like, I don't know, something that's going to be important to like trigger a Neolithic revolution and villages and farms and early agriculture, and because people probably like intentionally planted and replanted like like berries and stuff, like kind of so that they were along the way, so that people who were hunting and got lost that could just sort of find water, and probably also be able to find food. Like, you can sort of be like, remember when we ate all those berries, got sick, and took a poop? Like, you'll never believe the size of this berry bush. It's in the same place. Like, it's so easy to kind of come to that conclusion. And anyway, so eventually there were changes to this. Like, I guess you could mill grain, and maybe that's after the threshing. See, I don't really fully know. But these are the kinds of expressions that people use. Let's see, figures of speech. Let's see, agrarian. Maybe there's just a big ass list. When they try to tell you about the Farmer's Almanac. How did they know that? Whatever it was, I never read it, but they were trying to tell me that there was all this impossible stuff in there. And I'm like, there's no way. But yeah, because people lived or died by whether they could plant stuff and have something to eat. And if for some reason nobody could plant anything at all, then nobody had to eat. Like, kind of for a lot, like, you know, nobody could like drive to the store. It's just like, anyway, yeah, cream rises to the top, cream of the crop. These are kind of skimming off the top. Let's see, holding back or holding out, ruminate, house of a rumen. Apparently, I didn't know that. They eat grass directly into the rumen. If you eat grass, you're gonna poop. Lie down or keep standing will ruminate. Half asleep in a state of rest. Okay, it sounds like a cow, sort of. Yeah, kick the bucket, but yeah, just things like that. Like used to have like meanings that were like clarified by direct experience. Let have a viewer. This is not about geeks, by the way. I'm gonna start my stream over because I was like squirrel, and so I'm gonna try again here in about 10 minutes. I'm a philosopher, by the way, so I just think about stuff like this all the time. I used to think about like language and semiotics and linguistics and like how did certain words develop, how did certain concepts develop, are there like better ways of sort of looking at things or better lenses or perspectives that like I can have access to by looking at yeah, just like different things. So anyway, I'm gonna rename this video and then maybe feed the transcript to AI and be like, figure it out. Anyway. Well, I seem to have maximized the window here. Whew. There should be an OBS somewhere, I swear to God. There's a walker trick. Oh, there it is. Whew. Can't leave that one on.